Has it been 2 years since the teen TV series was concluded, and I felt like we should be moving on to brighter shores? Sure! Did I say back then, oh, I'm really, I watched the Winx Club, and then I was like, I think I'm gonna go on to a big fish. I'm gonna watch Dawson's Creek. Yes! Did I? I did. Was it good? No. No one talks about how unhinged Dawson's Creek is. It is a early adopter in like the teen drama, must-see TV that would have its, start with Degrassi of the mid-'80s and then peak with Gossip Girl into Pretty Little Liars, with its sunset being around Euphoria, because the demographic that they're choosing to court are adults that are really into teen dramas, and I love teen dramas, but I feel like we should be in that demographic courting teens, but we're not. We're courting adults, and then when adults don't like a teen show, they cancel the show. But Dawson's Creek was revolutionary. It did things, it went there TV before Degrassi was. It went there TV for America. So I started a new journal, and I wanted to make videos that I was excited about. I also watched the Golden Globes, in which Joshua, two last names, Pacey from Dawson's Creek, bestowed onto one of the main writers and creative forces behind Dawson's Creek a Lifetime Achievement Award for depicting gay storylines. And, they talk about how revolutionary it was. And my dad was sitting there and he was watching it with me, and he goes, Megan, didn't you watch Dawson's Creek for a little bit? And I was like, yeah. And it was boring. It is a show that is 6 seasons long, and anything after season 2 just kind of hits a repetitive will they, won't they circle jerk around the entire cast. It's boring. I kept waiting for it to turn into the opening theme that I recognized. I don't want to wait for our lives to be over. And I wonder if they couldn't get the licensing for that opening sequence on Hulu, because I watched through midway through season 5 and did not get to that theme song. So I'm feeling gaslit. Unbelievably, penetratingly boring. But they, at the beginning, have some truly unhinged, crazy things that happened. One of them is flying right out the handle. The thing about Dawson's Creek, the thing everyone seems to love about Dawson's Creek, is that they were talking about what the teens were doing. Teens were having sex. Teens are talking about sex. They're feeling lustful. So the entire first episode is Joey, played by perpetual smirker Katie Holmes. Dawson, played by the beloved James Vanderbeek, talking about how they can't be friends anymore like they were, because now they're entering high school, which they enter high school in 10th grade, not 9th grade. Because I'm like, they're 14 for a lot of my script. Incorrect. They enter at 15, but they're 15. It's a show that's trying to convey the sexual urges of teens. And the first major arc of the series is Pacey, the third leg of their friendship triangle, getting groomed by their new teacher. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I don't particularly care about anything else about the show, and I feel like this will satisfy any need for me to talk about this show any further than talking about what I think is their most interesting arc, and then talking about in a separate video their most absolutely batshit insane arc that's barely even an arc. They truly were just doing shit. In our teen TV series, you can check out my video about the history of the WB, the CW, to get more information about the climate around teen TV in the 2000s. Dawson's Creek is seminal TV for teen TV lovers and TV of the 2000s. However, the reason no one talks about this show outside of the James Vanderbeek meme, birthing stars like Michelle Williams and Katie Holmes, and Jodie Turner-Smith's ex-husband, Joshua Jackson. It's boring. It's like so boring it's offensive. Garbage, ever-shifting love triangles, and an ever-deepening tragic backstory of gay, dead, homophobic dads. Cheating parents and classism. Dreams of better for white middle class in cute New England in the Clinton years into the early Bush administration. Getting into it, our cast is Dawson being the most unself-aware, introspective teen filmmaker with dreams of being Steven Spielberg with a tragic backstory. Parents are getting divorced. We have Josephine, his best friend, his girl best friend, who's there in a relationship that is ever-changing on the nexus of the love triangle. Her tragic backstory, dad in jail, and poor. We have Pacey, who is Dawson's male best friend with a tragic backstory. He's the family fuck-up. And then Jen, the new girl in town, played by Michelle Williams, having a hard time fitting in with a tragic backstory. Literal victim-blamed assault victim. Actual tragic backstory. So I need you to understand that trigger warning, grooming, victim blaming, male sexual assault of a minor. Again, student-teacher relationships and talking about it like it's normal. It is not abnormal for the teens to lust. It is abnormal for producers, adult producers, to display it as acceptable. There is known quantity about having adults, people over the age of 18, playing people younger than them, which gets people's brains weird when you're like, this teacher touched this student because they're like, oh yeah, I saw that on Pretty Little Liars. It can't be that bad. If they're saying she came on to him, I mean, look at Lucy Hale. She's hot. But she and the guy who played Ezra were literally like 4 years apart, and they're both over the age of 18. Like, I feel like, trigger warning. Episode 1, Season 1. The A-plot is Dawson and Joey, a young Katie Holmes, growing up and growing apart. Pacey and Dawson at their job at the movie rental place, which will disappear the moment it is more convenient for the plot for Dawson to have to get a different job. A hot woman walks in and Pacey's feeling flirty. Pacey's like a weird, withdrawn family fuck up of a very notable family in town. His family are all cops and it's a large family. They're Irish. So they have a lot of kids and he's not special. Perennially treated by a fuck up and a mess up and someone not worth paying attention to by everyone, especially his golden boy older brother. May or may not be gay. This woman walks in and she's a woman. She's beautiful. She's somebody's mother, says Dawson. Tamara is new in town, a beautiful woman. They share a flirty moment back and forth, referencing The Graduate, sirens, jail, prison. Dawson breaks up the sexual tension and is like, that woman is a woman and you are Pacey. Let's cool it down. Gives them a flirty goodbye and look back. Triumphant music plays. It's like watching a train accident, but everyone's like, go train, woo! We support train rights. On the first day of high school, Pacey sees Miss Jacobs, Tamara Jacobs, as his teacher. Pacey is hot for teacher. Prison, jail, prison. During lunch, he goes to her classroom to ask her about the movies she's watching. The show uses such intimate cuts between them to build sexual tension. Are we supposed to be rooting for them? I'm supposed to be rooting for the groomer. They're having a lot of intimate eye contact when her students for her next class walk in, and Pacey is insistent that they will smash because he is a child and literally on the first day of high school, and his brain is not close to being developed enough to be having these thoughts. This episode is all about the cast and getting everyone of the cast being pubescent and looking for that thrill of a relationship and maturing and the markers of maturity, but they are still children. Because who lets children consent at 15? We have some random transphobia, number 1, and we move on. Misdemeanor felony Jacobs alluded that she was going to see a movie. Pacey rounds up his friends to go and run into her, the movies, while he pesters this criminal. Well, luckily she is on a date with a man, an age-appropriate man. Pacey interrupts the movie and gets punched. He confronts her afterwards and she kisses him. Ew. Episode 2. Dawson is complaining about not being let into his high school's film class, and literally his best friend's being groomed as the B plot. It's the next morning, and Pacey is chasing Miss Jacobs in school. He keeps flirting with her like they are equals. Babe, no! That's a taxpayer! That's someone who can rent a car! Later in class, they are discussing Wuthering Heights. How dare you? Pacey's all pissed because she's alluding that they aren't meant to be like Kathy and Heathcliff. Duh! The C plot is that Dawson's mom is clearly cheating on the dad. Time for the school dance. Pacey sees Miss MILF Demeanor talking to an age-appropriate teacher. She sends him away to chat with Pacey. She keeps wiffle-waffling on Pacey, and he asks her to be his date to the dance tomorrow. At your job? As a taxpayer? Pacey finds Miss Jacob on the pier. She apologizes for her behavior and letting it get this far. This is punishable by law. This is illegal. Pacey is like, no, I'm a man. I kissed you back. I'm a big boy, Miss Felony. Jacobs is like, I am your teacher. You are a student. We gotta keep it that way. Pacey's like, I'm not good with the girls. I love you. Sir, this is a broken woman. Get away from... If she is thinking about skip scap doodle bopping with a student, that is not a well woman. That needs institutionalization until you can get your shit figured out. Prison. They play some sad music and then make out aggressively. Episode 3, named Kiss. I kissed back. Jesus Christ. Miss Jacob gives Pacey a 23 on some work because he's failing all his classes because he is an abused, emotionally neglected child seeking positive attention from an adult woman. He's failing his classes because this is consistent as Pacey has a terrible home life where he only gets negative attention from his father. He doesn't think that he's really worth it to do anything or really fix it because he's a broken child, which is why he's easy to fucking groom. Pacey says it's Miss Pediophile and asks if she'll give him special tutoring. She gives in, telling him that she's free after class. At the tutoring, he asks her what she was like in high school. She's like, do your work and maybe I'll tell you. So of course he's motivated to do the work because he's a 15-year-old horn dog. She's in the classroom showing leg. They're calling each other's bluff on flirting. It's raising the tension. She's like, oh, if this is what's gonna get you to do your work, whatever. She's like, well, we have to get condoms if we're gonna do this. They call each other's bluff and having sex in the school. This is the most crazed will they, won't they. She sends him home and he is disappointed. They do not have sex in the classroom. Pacey is in a wheelchair for some reason because I was not going to be forced to rewatch this entire season, half a season, so I did skip around a bit. He's in a wheelchair hanging around outside the classroom when the film teacher is in there, and we don't like the film teacher because the film teacher won't let Dawson into that class. So we're supposed to be like, Miss Jacob, you can't be with that guy. You gotta be with Pacey. He wubs you. Like, he's not age appropriate. The film teacher offers to walk her to her house because the town of Riverside, Capeside, is very small, walkable, white, affluent Maine town. Connecticut town. Pacey is pissed that she would even entertain being walked home by another man. Pacey is pissed that she flirts with everyone. No, you are a child. Leave her be. He confronts her in the hallway, jealous of his teacher. He's like, what do you want? And all I'm thinking is prison. I want you in therapy. You need to be in prison. And the A and B plots of this episode is that Dawson wants to make a film, and Joey is trying to throw off her jealousy at the fact that Dawson wants to make Michelle Williams' character Jen his muse of the movie instead of the movie that they had been collaborating on prior to this. The C plot is Pacey getting fucking groomed. I believe the teacher's gay. If I don't get that clip, the teacher's gay. Like, who will be, me or your age-appropriate coworker? And Tamara's like, Mr. Gold is gay, honey. She says as she's still thinking of him, and he gives her a bashful look, like a child, because he is, what? A child. Episode 4, Discovery. Dawson is a scumbag who's overly worried about Jen being a virgin. Pacey's getting groomed, and Katie Holmes is mouthing. Pacey is hanging out in Tamara's house when he asks her how old she is and how many men she's been with. And she like names the thing about like, I slept with a certain amount of boys. None of them were my students. Ah! Put her down. Put her down. Never mind. No rehabilitation for this. Put her down. Pacey looks so pleased, like a kid in a candy store. Dawson films Pacey and Tamara being intimate outside. Episode 5, Hurricane. A hurricane is coming to Wasptown, USA, and Pacey has to go prep with his gay, not gay cop brother. Did I mention they were cops? My favorite. Dawson's mom knows that she's cheating. Pacey and his brother are stuck in Tamara's house during the storm. With it picking up, this relationship is a felony. They kiss flagrantly on the floor while the brother is putting up fucking stuff on the walls. The brother sees them in this kind of compromised position, but they all laugh it off. I never use this term because I'm just not cool like that. But while this hurricane is happening, Dawson's dad is told that his wife is cheating on him and crashes out and flies off the handle and nearly tries to kill them in the storm. Officer Goldenchild Friendly, tries to get to know Tamara because he can sense that Pacey likes her and is willing to do anything to fucking hurt his brother. Pacey's brother looks like Handsome Squidward, Officer Friendly, Golden brother, bad person's name is Doug. Doug flirts with Tam, and Pacey is jealous because duh. Tam and Doug both love Broadway. Tam is like, oh my god, you're gay. He's like, and Pacey, did you tell her? And she's like, no, I've got great gaydar. A laughter ensues, and then Doug pulls out a fucking gun and like pulls the gun on his brother, and Pacey's like, he does this all the time. Because they have an unstable home life. They do this, and then until Pacey admits that he says, I don't think that you're gay, Doug. And then he finally pulls the gun away. What the fuck is happening? Ah! The next morning, mind you, they pull the gun, and then like hours will have transpired. She didn't kick him out of the house. The next morning, the boys leave the house. Doug tries to ask Tam out. She says she's seeing someone. Ugh. Pacey is pleased. Jen makes up with Dawson, yay I guess, and Pacey comes back to Tamara asking what he would have done if she could do it right now, all over. Not marrying her abusive husband. That's her tragic backstory. I could be older. I would be older and I'd fix you, which is like not an answer. That's not an answer to the question that you asked. Take this child to therapy. He admits about being jealous and that if this wasn't very, very illegal, it is competently and compellingly constructed in a way where you were almost rooting for them. And then I have to remember that this is child abuse. Pacey says how he feels in a way that is open and himself, like almost quasi-romantic. But he's 15 and she's his English teacher. She says that they're getting sloppy and then takes him to her fucking bed where they go have sex. Gross. Episode 6. Dawson's stare is so empty and vacant, and it is just compelling proof that his character has the widest empathy gap. Jen's grandmother is a lonely, pushy Bible thumper who is at odds with almost every member of the cast. Pacey wants to see Tam on a Friday night. Pediophile puts up a light fight, be like, no, but is easily turned over and swayed by her victim. It's a date night in Providence, Rhode Island. Will you go with me, Miss Jacobs, to Providence, Rhode Island? They're talking about this in public, at the school, at her car. Well, in the bathroom, do not conspire in public. It's my one rule about anything ever. Never conspire in public. You got a secret? Don't say that in the bathroom. So while in the bathroom of this public school, Dawson and Pacey are talking about going to Rhode Island as a date, because Pacey did tell Dawson that the person he saw being intimate was in fact him with Miss Jacob. So of course they're overheard by a bathroom stoner. What the fuck? The bathroom stoner child who spreads the rumor. The rumors are about to flow. Jen tells Dawson, because Jen doesn't know that Dawson knows. They're trying to play it cool and being like, is it just a rumor that would make him look cool? Because it would make him look cool. He wouldn't be a school loser if he was fake smashing Miss Jacobs, but he is actually smashing Miss Jacobs so she could lose her job, and he's being groomed. Pacey hopes that this just doesn't get back to Tam. Dawson tells them pretend like it's not real, but that Pacey is such a self-hating loser that everyone is laughing and whispering about him, and he can't keep it together because he's a broken child. Ah! In class, they're discussing Romeo and Juliet. Pacey shows up late and every eye is on him. They are cracking jokes about the rumor as compared to a forbidden romance of Romeo and Juliet. After class, Pacey sulks on the pier because he is an isolated child. Pacey and Joey bond over being social pariahs. I think her dad killed someone or like robbed people, and because these waspy people love their money, that's like the worst thing you can do. So she's just like not like the other girls. Joey is like Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Conventionally attractive, very smart, intelligent, loves learning, and is very visually aware of that. Like that's like her thing. And yet everyone treats her like she's got a second head, or she treats them like they're treating her with a second head, which in Beauty and the Beast they are. I don't really think anyone gives a shit about Joey in Cape Side. Joey is a social pariah currently because later sleeping with a boy that she did. He made up a rumor about her and she's like, I didn't do it, boo. Later, Pacey shows up at Tamara's house. Everything about whatever happens at 17 minutes, 28 seconds. It's all weird. You are a predator. Do not ask for that child not to behave like a child. Be a good adult and kill yourself. God damn it, Megan. They argue about being found out and she breaks up with him. Grandma from the beginning of the episode, helps deliver Joey's sister's mixed out of wedlock born baby. Stews on it. He goes to the courthouse. Mind you, this happened at like 10 a.m. on Friday. Cape Town don't fuck around, apparently. They go past the courthouse and Tamara has a lawyer and the lawyer's like, do not speak to this woman. You guys are no longer speaking. It's like crazy that they're like treating him like, get this lovesick equal away from me. That's a child. And like, I know you're her defense lawyer and so like you got a job to do, but like you're defending a child diddler. Everyone's short with Pacey and it's like, she did the crime. Also, like this is all in the same day and the court case is moving so quickly. The judge starts to talk to Miss Tamara, Miss Jacobs, about the rumor of her crime. And it's like, girl, it's the day you all found out. Sure. Who am I to stand in the way of justice for a child? Pacey comes in and says that it was just a rumor, and his brother is the bailiff, which is a clear and present breaking of some kind of rule about propriety and judiciality, but like, I guess it's a good thing that Pacey's brother is a scumbag that hates him, so he's just like, Pacey is like, I started this lie because I am a child and a loser and I never get bitches anyway, so I started a rumor that I got the ultimate bitch, MILF in charge, Tamara Jacobs. At the end of the last notes, I definitely said that, I said that the grandmother helps delivered it. In the action of this plot, so like at this point, I think we're in episode 6. No, we're at like the midpoint of the season. And so if a show's gonna get canceled, at least most of its like first plot points are getting resolved. So the mixed race baby of Joey's sister's mixed race baby that is being born, the sister's name is Bess. This is such a weird way to say all of the things I just said. I apologize. But Bess is bleeding out. Oh no, Lil Pancake's mom's coding. Fuck! She's delivering this baby. She's doing the best she can do. Dawson is in this woman's face. Smile! Oh my god, you're doing great. Baby is just like up in this woman's face like, oh my god, you're doing great, sweetie. Don't worry about it. That's a lot of blood. That's a lot of blood. That's a right amount of blood comes from the grandmother because she's trying to make sure this baby gets born. Don't let emotionally immature Dawson near anything that you want to be taken seriously, because he's gonna put a camera up in your face. But he's just like, oh my god, you're doing great, sweetie. Bleeding. That's crazy. Doug, the not gay brother, Tam, on her way out of the courthouse and was like, I'm so, like throwing his brother completely under the bus. I'm so sorry that my Pacey caused you this trouble, you great and upstanding member of the community. Sorry my brother's such a fuck up. Tam stands up to Doug and is like, you're shitty. You're crazy. You're gay. Doug then acts jealous of a 15-year-old for getting positive attention from another adult. Go to therapy. Boo. Tam will flee town because, girl, what the fuck? A child? A freshman? Your student? Rolling in the hay? Homie, be smart, be for real. Pacey goes back to her house. She's thankful for not having to catch a felony. He wants to continue seeing her, and Tam is like, boy, boy, let me leave. Tam is 36. She wants to be an adult and do adult things, and she needs to move on, A, from her abusive husband, and B, from a child. The baby's born. Pacey walks to the beach looking at Tam in her house. He's gonna go to see her, but she's like wistful and he's like, I must leave her in her content. And for now, this is over. So my final thoughts is that Dawson's Creek being awarded that Lifetime Achievement Award, presented by Joshua. Pacey's actor, talking about how much Dawson's Creek pushed the convo of teen shows, gay stories on primetime TV, with a story later on that will end up getting covered in my next set of videos about Andy's gay brother, Jack. But it was also, it's just kind of baked in with this melodramatic way of doing the all too familiar stereotype of abuse. It's a relic from a time gone by when we were like, well, if they want it, if they're old enough to seduce you, they're old enough to fuck. And it's like, that's crazy. This relic can and does make children vulnerable to abuse from bad figures. If you're like, oh my god, my teacher likes like Miss Jacobs, like Ezra from Pretty Little Liars, like you're gonna be more likely to be vulnerable to that form of grooming. A sexy teacher that tells you you're mature for your age, convincing you that you're so special and so different than those other people, that your connection is just so different, isolating that child and making it easy for them to be taken advantage of. All of that is bad news bears. I cannot in good faith get into the sympathetic angle that they give the child predator, abusive husband or not. She's 36. We cannot. She is 36 and should know better than to entertain one of her students. Teacher-student relationships tend to focus on a man-girl kind of thing, the Ezra, Aria thing from Pretty Little Liars. And those relationships and the cultural cancer that is thinking that boy children can't be molested by older women because they have higher sex drives and they want it faster. Just because they're having a good time in the moment, or should be having a good time, does not make it abuse. And it leaves them, children like Pacey, isolated from their family, feeling weird, detached, socially inept with girls his own age. Easy to be taken advantage of by a Miss Jacobs, who apparently a bad divorce away from sleeping with a 15-year-old. Giving Tam her one good big one is that it took an outsider in the town to realize like how kind of fucked up Pacey's family treats him and why he's like she obviously preyed on that weakness or took advantage of that mutual attraction. I don't want to get into that, but she's like, you're weird. You're crazy. And you're ineffectual. And you're sick. You need to go. Crazy that she ended up raping him about it. I don't know where to leave this one. I'm looking forward to watching literally anything else besides Pacey and Friends. Could not stand those people any more or less. Next time I talk about Grey's Anatomy? Why do I keep on saying Grey's Anatomy? The next time I talk about Dawson's Creek, I'm gonna talk about my favorite episode, 2-episode stretch. I'm gonna talk about 3 episodes in which they just kind of kill off an annoying bitch in such a like she wasn't involved in the cast way, just kind of feeding into everyone's deep tragic backstory without having to really commit to killing someone people liked. It was insane. We'll get into it next time. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Megan_Blush, also Blue Sky. Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, and TikTok at Megan_Blush_. I'm also gonna be on Storygraph at some point, maybe by the time this video comes up, but who knows. You can also find my beauty channel in the description. If the makeup hair video that this is attached to is in there, it will. I didn't do a video on this makeup, but if you like it, I can probably recreate it. I just kind of mixed some blushes this time that I don't normally. I wanted to look a little more flushed. Wanted to look more varsity, a little more, not juvenile, but like collegiate. I wanted to look like a superlatives photo. Yeah, alright. That's all. Alright. Bye, guys.